Hey folks, welcome to the stream. We are back this afternoon. We're going to have a look to see where we are from yesterday. We were working on the inventory and here we go. We've set up a data table with some interactable items on it and we're going to carry on with that. So, we've not got them quite right yet. This is obviously coming under fuel. Quiver, this is just basically for testing stuff. This is under clothing, which is a shield. And this is under a shield, and it's actually a sword. So you'll have to bear with me on that one. As I said, it's just for testing purposes, but we can have a look at where we are and we can turn the sound down a bit. Going to do that, and if we hit our button you will see that we have our different items, and when we click on an item we can move it around, etc. We have a description and the name of the item here, and if we press this, there's nothing in the food category. This is in the clothing category, this is in the tools category, and this is in the fuel category. And if we click on the top one, it gives us all of them. Okay, that's all working nicely, but we need to now tie it to actual items and basically pick them up and take it from there. So what we'll do is we're going to go into interactable items and we're going to duplicate our fuel, but we are going to rename it as BP clothing, okay. So now that we have done that, by the way guys, out in YouTube land, let me know how the stream is going, because I've got a message up here saying I'm not receiving enough video. I don't know if that's the case or not, but anyway, and we're going to go to BP clothing and on pickup we're going to have an event pickup, event pickup, and in the first instance okay, our interactable item we are going to set a variable called DT row number, and that, if we look at our DT interactables, I believe this is just a row name. In fact, I'm going to change these to basically be that. Okay. And the next thing we're going to do is close that down. Close that down. Right. So I'm trying to get it so that it's receiving enough video. I'm hoping it is. We'll find out later. Anyway, let's go on with this because this is getting us nowhere. So a right interactable item is going to be a value in the data table. Okay. Now this is going to be viewable, and it's going to be a string. We shall save that. It doesn't like that for some name. Okay. Just go for 1. And that's on BP clothing, so that's fine, okay? Actually, you know what? This is going to go in here. And DT row number is actually going to be a name. And we shall go with that. Okay. Close that. Refresh. Plug that directly in there. Delete that. Okay. That sets the mesh. That's fine. And that's okay. Right. So our next thing would be to drag this in. Right, now this is going to be clothing, so we want the one with clothing, which is number 2. Okay. So we select 2 there. Okay. And we shall sort this out. Right, and this is going to be and we can change this to 3. Save this. Now it is an interactable item, so in theory we should be able to say DT interesting. Let's have a look at clothing again. DT row number. Right. We might need to close that and then reopen it. Or we might need to actually... Yeah, that's interesting. Well, that's bizarre. Let's see, DT... It's not there. Okay. I mean, it should have... the DT row number on it. Okay, well, whatever. We'll worry about that later and carry on. So, if I run that, there is our shield. Okay. And our next issue is pickup doesn't do anything, which is fine. Right, but on our begin play, we do have a reference character. Right, so what we can say is ref char inventory okay get, and apparently we don't have an inventory. Well, that's a bit bizarre. We definitely have our character. Okay, well. And apparently I don't have an inventory. Well, that's interesting. Inventory. And that is going to be struct inventory. Now I'm going to have to check to see if this is the right thing or not. And it's not. Okay, so this is inventory items, and it is an array, and it should have two members, which is basically the data table row name and the quantity. Okay, So we can close that, right? And if we go to our BP closing, now we probably want to do this in our interactable items, right? So if we go to clothing and we look at interactable item and we open this and we do custom event, then we say add to inventory, okay, and then we add an input, and we make it inventory item, and it's going to be of the struct inventory item. Okay, so that's going to give us what we need, and our next input we're going to have to add char ref, and that's going to be demo character, right? So we're going to save that for now. Then we're going to go to BP closing, and then in here we're going to say add to inventory, right? And we're going to pass in the char ref, and then we're going to add in our row number, and by default we're just going to say 1 for now. We can do something about that later. Then when we come in here, okay, we should actually turn this into a function so that I can do a local variable. So let's delete that and add a function. Add item to inventory, and then item, well, that's going to be char that's outputs, so that's going to be char, we can delete those, that's going to be char, it's going to be item, and that's going to be struct inventory item. Okay, then we're going to have a bool called item exists, Okay, so we're going to get our inventory. Then we're going to say for each. The first thing we're going to do is set this to false to begin with. I'm going to go for each item. Then we're going to grab this again. We're going to branch off it. And we're going to say not. So that it goes on the top. Right. So this is going to go in here. I'm going to grab that. And this is kind of out of line. Slightly, I'm getting a bit nerdy about it here. About these being straight. Right, so if it's true, we get our char. Inventory. And we add unique. And I believe it's item. That goes into there. And actually we want a for each with break. And that's going in there. And that's going in there. That's going to delete that. We can delete that. We can go like that. We can break that. And we can say if that equals, then we can say item. And we can split that. And if that goes in there, and we branch that, and we are not going to do the return node. So we're going to loop into there. Now if this is true, right, we set members in here. And we're going to be setting the quantity to that, plus that, and that is going to go in there. Okay, and then we're going to get this and we're going to set array element to that, and to this particular index. To there. Okay. And if we do that, then we're going to break. Okay. And we have in fact screwed this up, but we'll worry about that in a second. Well, we've not screwed it up, we've just missed a bit of code. So we're going to set this to true. Right, and then we're going to break. Okay. So that should be us. Well, not quite, because if we go back into here, we delete that, add to, did that call it something different? No, add item to inventory. Okay, so we do that, we do that, we plug that back in, and we're good to go. Okay. So this is where the fun starts. Right, because now we're not, oh, wait a minute. What we do, once we've done that, is destroy actor self. Okay. And there we go. So what I need to do now is check out what's the pickup button, because I can't remember. We'll soon find out. What is the pickup button? The pickup button is F. Okay. Right, so this is our shield. Okay. So we can press play. And there is your shield. And if I hit F, it should have disappeared, which it did, which is cool. And this isn't picking from where you think at the moment. This is actually pulling for the data table. Right. So what we need to do is go to our inventory main, and we don't pull from here anymore. Okay, what we say is okay. So we're going to need a ref char. Okay. And we're going to be setting it before any of this stuff. Okay, so we're going to say set, and we're going to get our player controller, and we're going to cast it. Oh no, we're getting the pawn, sorry. Okay, pawn. And we're going to cast it to here. That's going to go in there. That's going to go in there. Tidy that up a bit. Then we'll drag this into play. This is going to come down a little bit. This is going to come here to here. That's going to go to there. And we can either do this, or we could move it directly up to, like we could do that, right? And what we could do from there is like do that. Okay. So basically now we're not getting rows from the data table. Okay. Well, we are, but we're getting them from the inventory. Right, we're getting the row names from the inventory. So we're going to say inventory. Right. And then we're going to say for each right, and then we're going to break that, and then our row name is going to go in there. Okay. So this is going to go to here, and this is going to go to here, and this is going to go to here, and that is going to go away. This is going to get moved a bit. We can drag this down, can move this to a more convenient place. We can move that, we can move that down, and that is us. Now that's fine. So if we go over here and we pick up our shield, then we hit inventory. Well, that's interesting. What happened there? Ah, okay. Okay. We didn't actually do it here, so we basically need to do this. Right, so we do that. We delete that and that. We plug that into there, that into there, and that into there. And our row name goes into here. Oopsie. Move that up a bit. Tidy that up a bit. Save that. And let's try that, shall we? Inventory. There we go. Okay. And if we select food, there's none. Clothing, that's that's going under. That's weird. It's as if that gets a little bit smaller when you click it. Actually, that's quite a good effect. I just wonder what that's doing. If we go to here, there's something about this one that when you click it, it becomes a box. That's the difference. Or maybe it's not. Or maybe it's because these are a box to start with. That's image, image, box. Okay, if I do image, image, box for all of them, I wonder if that actually is going to give us that. Well, it should give us that effect for them all, but I'm just wondering if it's actually a good effect for all of them, or if it only actually kind of works for the t-shirt. Right, so if I save that, press play. Well, we don't need anything. That actually works quite well, doesn't it? Just as a little... Yeah, it actually works. Yeah, I'm quite liking that. Right, so we're happy with that. Now, the question now, of course, is, does it all work? And the easiest way to work that out is to check if we're doing it for... Yep, that looks fine. This all looks good to me. So let's try this from the start, right? So we go, we pick up an item, forget that, right? We click on it, and there we go. Okay. And what we need is this thing here. Okay. Now these things I'm probably going to have to move. No, I'm not going to have to move these, but I'm going to have to move the other stuff, which is actually in here. These interactable item stuffs. Inventory item, inventory. Right, we don't want the inventory item. We want the interactable item. Okay. So we want description and that's going to be text, I suppose. Right, so what we'll say is nothing. So we've got our description here. So if we go to our shield and we'll say a basic combat shield. Giving defensive wait a minute. Let's save that. That'll do. Right. So now that we've filled that in, right, you can click on that and the description isn't going there, and that's because I haven't filled that in yet. So in inventory, I'm pretty sure it's inventory slot, we actually update details. That's when we click on it. Right, so it's actually in here. I can go there. Then we're going to hide unconnected. We can save that. We can press play. Right, so pick that up. All good. A basic combat shield giving blocking bonus. Voila! So that works well. Let me grab a drink of orange. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to need an exit button. Right, so I think what we'll do, right, is if we go to main, that's fine. what we'll do is we'll duplicate that, right, and we'll drag it to here. Okay, we'll test this out. We'll duplicate that. We'll move it to here, and this is going to be button exit, except it's not going to be burn exit, it's going to be btn. Okay, and then we need a nice image. Right, and icons, and we want an arrow. Icon, there is one with arrows. Arrow, there it's there, right. Now, do we have we could do this one. Right, but can we mirror it? Is the question. I mean, that works. I'd say that works. Okay, so now, hey Mr. Spock, how you doing? Right, we're going to do on clicked, and get characters of class. It's not get characters, what am I talking about? It's get actors. Get actor of class, and it's inspect. And we destroy that actor. And then we remove from parent. Okie dokie. There we go. So once we've done this, or let's say, so here is the flow. Okay, so we hit F. We're going to do something with that widget in a minute. Okay, but if I hit this, we get our thing. Okay, so we can move it about and stuff. And then if we hit this button, it takes us back to the game. Okay. Now, I know why that is, and that's because it didn't get a value here. Right, so we need to handle that issue. Right, so we say is valid. Okay. We move that along a bit. Right, we do that, and if it's not valid, then we do straight in. Okay, so basically that's us. Yeah, well, you are a Viking, and you are in kind of Viking-y land, so it is pretty darn cold in Viking-y land. Oh, the bots are here. Okay, so here is the inventory loop. Okay, so we are wandering around and we find a shield and we pick it up. Then we look in our inventory, we select it, we can look at our object in our window, and then we can exit back out. Okay. And if we go back in, we still have it. Okay. We can click on this, it'll disappear because we're sorting by stuff. Click on it, brings it up, all good in the hood. Okay, and exit. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to work on is these radial bars that are going round each of these. So we're going to use a couple of things. We're going to use our inventory. Right, no errors. So we're going to create an item of food, right? So we're going to create an item of food, and we're going to get our item of food to go up. Or at the very least, we're going to start getting our radial bars to basically start moving. Okay, so I'm going to do that after I have a cigarette. So if you're enjoying the stream, hit like, subscribe, check out the description for Discord, my Patreon, and something else. Oh yeah, my other game on Steam. I shall be back in 2 minutes, guys. Don't go anywhere. Mr. Spock, talk to everybody. Okay, guys, we're back. Right, so let's have a look at our widgets. Because we like widgets. Okay. And here are our widgets. We have the temperature text one is being updated already, as is temperature. Right, it's just that the temperature in this area is actually, wait a minute. If I press play, in theory this should work. Right? If I go up to here, right, see temperature changes? right? Because we're standing next to the... Right, and if you notice, if I walk away, right, our wee thermometer griddy thing should start going down. Right, cool. Believe it or not, I actually got that working. Right? Well, I got the widget part working. We do need to do a gradiated temperature, right? So that it depends on the distance you are from the actual brazier. You know, because it's just basically this, I believe it's just this collision. So if you go outside that collision, basically the temperature drops back to what the other number is, like minus 50. Right, but we want to do that as a gradiated, so that while you're within the collision, you do like a distance on 2D to find out the distance you are from the fire, and that determines the temperature, right? So it won't be like either what are you trying to install? Joyce Aguilar. Right, so the temperature gauge is working, okay? But we haven't done anything with the hunger or anything else, right? So basically we just set percentage on all these, right? So basically what I can do to test whether it works or not, right, is basically go to the demo character, right? Now, we'll just do it as a test for now. And what I should have done... Yeah, it's in GP attributes. Right. I'm going to think of a better way to do this. I think it's Unreal Engine 4. Como say, it's basically what is installed. Or how do you install it? Right, anyway. Right, so what we've got to go to demo character, right? And we are basically looking for the begin play. Right? Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to do I'm just going to do a custom event. Right, and then I'm just going to fire it on a timer. So I'm just going to say, let's say update HUD. Right, that's it if I can actually see what I'm doing here. And then actually name it the right thing. So HUD. Right, and then we'll set timer by function name, Copy that. Paste that. Apparently not. Right, and we'll just get it to update every 2 seconds and we'll loop it. This is obviously just for prototyping at the moment. Right. And what we'll say is, because I'm probably going to set references to these, get widgets at class, right, and we're going to say hunger, right. There should only be one, so we can just basically say get a copy at 0, and then we can say set percentage, right, and we can say, is this an integer or a float? Yeah, it's a float. We can say float in range, float range, random floating range. We can say between 0 and 100, right? Then we can plug it in there, save that, plug that in there, save that. If we go back to our actual hunger thing, right, that's fine. Yeah, that's all cool. That's all cool. We're looking at something else regarding the number. What I wanted to do was have a look at this temperature value. So if we look at the temperature text, right, what we want to actually do here is change this to 1. So we're the maximum numbers we can have is like 0.1, right? So it's not giving us 0.324167 type nonsense, right? We only want one digit after the point. So that should have fixed that as well. So if I press play, our hunger should start going up and down. But as you can see, it didn't. We don't do top level only. Try that. There we go. As you can see, well, it went to 100. Yeah, it's changing. Oh, I'm an idiot. dismiss that, right? The percentage isn't a percentage, it's a normalized percentage. So in actual fact, this should be between 0 and 1. Okay? So you'll see it jumping around, right? But the point is to show the percentage. Right? So yeah, that's cool. Oh, I wanted to check the brazier. Okay, so if we start this fire up, right, you'll notice that it's 11.1 and it's not giving us crazy mad numbers. Okay. Right. So that all works. Now our interesting thing is I don't understand what's much better, but I'll believe you. Right, so what we're going to do Right, I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. Yeah, these little tweaks do make a difference. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that, right? I'm going to get the main attributes. Okay, then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete this. I'm going to drag off this. Okay. And actually, I'm going to break that, right? And then I'm going to set members instruct. Okay. And then we're going to do hunger, water, and energy. This is just me prototyping, guys, so don't get excited about me just throwing numbers around, because this ain't going to be how it works in the end. I'm just checking what things are looking like. Right, then what we're going to do is that, and then that. but at this point we're going to say 2, and this one we're going to say 3. Right, it's just so all of these are moving at the same rate. Okay, and then main attributes, set it with the struct out. Okay, and now we're going to have to do a little bit of jiggery pokery here. Because we actually at this point need to get these get widgets. As I say, they'll set these up as references. Get all widgets of class. We're going to not say top level only. This is going to be hunger. And get a copy. Then we're going to do this another twice. So we're going to add a sequence. This will all be tidied up and put into a much more logical way of doing it in the end. But it's just a matter of prototyping to see how this is looking, how it's going to work. And then we start tidying stuff up and getting it to the final way we want it. Just like we did with inventory. We just started off with a prototype that looked completely rubbish and didn't work, and gradually we added things, got it working, and in the end it's beginning to look okay. Not saying perfect yet, it needs like background like textures and stuff to make it look a bit more interesting rather than just plain black, but it's certainly beginning to look better than it did. So this is going to be energy, let's see, energy. Then this one is going to be water. Right, save that. And then we're going to take this struct and we're going to break it, right? And then we're going to take our hunger and we're going to divide it by 100. And we're going to do this for each of them. Right? So that's water. That's energy. And then we're going to say set temperature. Sorry, set percentage. And for this one, we're going to set percentage. I mean, we're only going to do this on the event in reality. Right, so I'm not 100% sure yet on how this is actually going to work. Whether it's going to be like on a timer, a function timer, that I basically look for recalculating these values every 5 seconds or 10 seconds or something. Right, so these so that should be us. Alright, I can just move that to there just now, just to make it a little clearer what's going on. And damn, let's just, excuse me 1 second guys. Okay guys, we are back. My wife telling me stuff. Right, this is a different reference, so I'm going to have to say set percentage again. Oh, apparently the water doesn't have it. And apparently energy doesn't have it. Okay. So they need added. Okay, so I need to add the code. But we should see the one for hunger. No, not hunger. Energy, water. No. Right. Wait a minute. Do that one. Apparently the water one. No, it doesn't. Because I've not put the set percentage in, and it's not going to exist. Yeah, okay. So we can save that. Give me 1 second, folks. Okay. Let's try that. And then once we've done that, we'll add the temperature thing. Right, so you can see here, this gradually goes down. Okay. My wife has put me right off what I was doing there. Right. So that was the hunger, right? So we basically need to set up the other two like that. So if we go to energy, and it's already got the dynamic material, which is fine. So yeah, she's fine. It's just the fact that I'm selling a load of board games, and I wanted to just sell them all in a oneer, but I don't. Well, if anyone's got any sense, they'll buy them all in one go because it's basically a steal. But we do custom event, right? And it's called set percentage, and I think we do board games. Right, so the thing we want to do here is actually set this to 1. Right, first of all. So when we go to energy, we're doing our set percentage, and we're going to have an input, and it's going to be percentage, and it's going to be a bool. No, it's not. It's going to be a float, and it's going to go in there. Then we can pull that back a bit. Nah, it's all fairly new games, but they're basically in absolutely mint condition, i.e. I've never played any of them, basically. Well, there's a couple I have. And then there's a couple that have got hand painted the models. Right, this is actually doing something. So we can actually stop that. Right. And I'm pretty sure we need to be stopping that as well. No, because Warhammer isn't a board game. Warhammer is a tabletop game. So there's kind of that, but same kind of idea, I suppose. Right, so we were doing energy. Right. And we should be doing that. And that. Okay. Right, so that was energy. So in theory, if we go back to our demo classes, we should be able to do the energy thing. Right, that might not work, but that's fine. And because it's a different reference, it's not going to like that, so we'd need to do that. Drag that into there, drag that into there, delete that, drag that up to there, and then the last one we've got to do is water, but we'll just check that the other two work at this point. As you can see, those are both working fine. Right, so we know that that works. So we just need to copy this again and open water. Make sure we've got our, see, we've not got our border thing or our, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this. Or am I? Yeah, it's got border water. It's just I haven't made it a variable. Right. And it hasn't got the dynamic material either. Right. So we just need dyne material and dynamic material. Okie dokie. And we save that. Then we delete that and get rid of that. Then we paste. And we plug that in. Set that to 1, that's fine. Then we create a custom event. We call it set percentage. Then we add an input and it's called percentage. If I can spell properly, and that's a float, and that goes in there. Then, and it doesn't like that for some reason. And it's probably because of this. I'm going to delete that. Right. And we're going to say set percentage. That's going to be 1. That's going to go in there. And I don't know why. Right. So, yeah, there's something weird going on there. And that's going to be border water. That's going to get deleted. Goes in there. Save that. And Oh, I didn't do it in the other one. Right, okay. So we go back to here, we delete this, we get a copy, do it in 0, off of this, we do set percentage, and water goes here. Save that, and go. And there you go. Right, so we can change the values of our water, our food, and our energy. Okay? Now we can trigger other things based on this. Like, for example, if your percentage of health is less than 50%, then it stops you walking as fast or something. I don't know. You know, that type of thing. But either way, you can see that it works fine. All we need to do is grab that, and it works a little treat. So we can basically do that. And it should show full health. Right? Now, what we can do now is we can pick up there's lots of stuff you can do. Right, it looks like this hasn't got a pickup. I don't know what it is. Oh yeah, it's a BP fuel. Okay. Right, so I can actually fix this really fast now, because if you look at BP clothing, right, all I actually need to do, oh, no I can't, because BP fuel wasn't showing me the, oh yeah, wait a minute, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to delete this, right? And this is BP fuel. So if I browse to this, let's see, I think I've got a little bit of work on this to do, but that's interesting. Right, we're going to do something here. We're going to refresh all nodes, and then we're going to compile. And in theory, well, it's not done it. Right, if you look at BP clothing, it's got the DT row number, but that should actually be coming from the interactable. I must have added it to the wrong thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to the parent. So we do that. And it's a name. Then we save it. Right? And now what we do is we delete that. Right. That's fine. We go to our interactable, and that's going to be editor enabled. Right, now if we go into our clothing, we can get DT row name now. Right, and in fuel we can now say get DT row name, row number, sorry. Right, so this variable is available to everything now. Right, so if I look at this, you'll notice it's got DT row name, and I believe it's 3 for that one, and this is our other one, which I believe was 2. Right, so in theory, wait a minute, if I go into BP fuel, you can pick these up, right? So we delete that, and that's in inspect anyway, and it's not use. So we need event pick up, right? And I didn't want to do that, but never mind. So if we go to clothing again, oh yeah, we need get DT row number. DT, by the way, is for data table, in case you're wondering why I keep saying DT and what the significance of it is, then that's what it is. Put that there just now so I can copy it. And then basically what I do is just copy this code, right, and put it in fuel, and we should be able to pick up the fuel. As long as we've got this part, which we have, right? So pick that up, and we pick that up, and you'll notice I've now got the two things. Click on that, we can look at sort, all groovy. We can click on shield, all groovy. We can sort them, as you can see, And that, my friends, is working a treat. And I think I'm going to call that there because that's a good place to stop, I believe. So, I shall probably be on later. You'll be welcome to join then at probably around 8 PM Central. If you've enjoyed the stream, hit like and subscribe. Check out the description for Discord and my Patreon and also my previous game on Steam. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope to see you again. Bye bye for now.